The KP index spiked up to a 7 and was near 7 several times the past 48 hours. It's been really increased energy. We started to get solar flares. The kind of solar flares that we stopped having, the last one was like June 19th, and now they're back. Like we've been looking at the solar flare activity list, and it's been like super, super short. Now it's like tons and tons of items on it, lots of energy. We're going to talk about all of that and more. I just want to first welcome my brother. I always love getting that chance to talk with Guardian. Guardian's been on this journey with me for so long. I feel like there's not been a time I didn't have you along the ride with us. So welcome. How are you? Thank you for coming.
Hello. Yeah, it's great to be here and connecting with you, all of you, again. It's awesome. And yeah, like a lot's been happening, just as you were saying, the more tangible parts of it. I haven't been following it for the past 2 weeks or so,
Yeah.
but I've been feeling the effects of things happening, shifting, and changing inside of us as well. And maybe should we like go into the topic of time,
Yeah,
maybe?
please.
Okay. So just in short, like this is the only thing that I got from my guides or higher self, whatever, for this event, and it's been coming up in the past few days. The topic of time
Yeah.
itself. On a side note, we just saw, I think, like the anniversary screening of Interstellar, and like one of the main topics of the movie is time and the different flow of time and like what effect it has upon our lives, basically. And when we were like coming back from the cinema, my wife was just bringing up the topic of like how people are talking about time moving in a different way. Like not just, I don't know, like younger generations who are like very much tuned into this like fast paced being tapped into the digital world, like having smartphones or like following the news and all that stuff. But even like older generations who don't use these stuff and they like try to like continue and like flow as they have done decades prior, and like they are still talking about the same thing, that like it feels like as if though you don't have as much time during the day as you used to, like you're unable to do all the stuff that would you do normally because like time just runs out very quickly the
Yeah.
window. And like how is that possible? Like it's not just something I know, like very subjective, because like a lot of people are talking about it. I also experience it as well. And yeah, and basically the thing that came down, the information regarding this is like it's not news to the people listening that Earth is shifting and we're everything is becoming more high vibrational, and also time is becoming high vibrational. It moves faster, it flows faster, although it's I kind of sense that it has this like undulating flow to it as well. Like you have periods when things move very quickly and
Yeah.
very intensely, then you have like a more of a rest period, then it like intensifies again and like goes up a notch. Like that's kind of how I feel and observe what is happening, so we can like I gradually get used to how everything is like shifting from step, not necessarily day by day, but like shift by shift, which can happen every other day or week. So if you're
Right.
paying attention to what is happening. And yeah, like how can we navigate this whole situation? Like currently, I feel like we're in like this in between period.
Yeah.
Like we're still 1 foot in the old way of functioning, like in the linear, three dimensional way of being. We were very used to like I know, like you have I don't know, like 24 hours and you have your schedule and the natural rhythm of your day, and like now it feels like it just doesn't work anymore, or you can't I know, like keep that flow during your day, or just it just doesn't work anymore. It's not enough for everything. And basically the thing that we are going through is like having I know, like I'm always getting from my guides this like notion of like having no time yet like all the time at the same time, if it makes any
Yeah.
sense. So like if things are speeding up and like after a point like it reached like like a breakthrough moment when we're like in a completely different way of experiencing time itself, basically. I don't know what it's going to look like, but it's not going to slow down. So yeah, the only way to like reach equilibrium or a more natural flow in this in between phase that we're in right now is like finding a new flow, being in the now moment as much as you can. Like I know, like our current society, culture, gadgets, and everything that we're using are like there to distract you 24/7 from what is happening inside you and around you as well. And like, yeah, like, speaking of distractions, okay, so our gadgets are there to distract us from what is happening right
Speaking of that,
now.
the
And to
timing, and
like,
that was my 111 alarm.
okay. And basically, they're like to drag us out of our center to like not be in the present moment.
Hmm.
And time is almost like, I know, like you sleepwalk through your day, or you're just like time traveling from morning to the evening when you're tapped into your phone and like have TV running and all that stuff. So trying to be in the now as much as you can, going back to some more old philosophies and religions, like they talk about like yeah, like being in the now is very important, like live your life every moment with its full intensity, because this stuff is not coming back. So things are very fast paced right now, and all the things that are part of our lives to a certain extent, or have been part of our lives for quite some time, are basically fading out, going away. Everything is shifting out, like releasing the old stuff, old patterns, old elements, even people or circumstances from our old lives are like gradually going away, like going down with the flow of time, and like experience them to the fullest right now while we have the chance, because everything is like flowing and moving on, and like new things are coming into our lives right now. So
Yeah.
appreciate every moment and live it to the fullest.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Wow. You said a lot, and then you're right. I mean, I've given it a word. I've called it time slippage. Is that because it seems like it's more tangible, it's more manipulative, you can change it, you know, the way you're experiencing it and being in it or not being in it. And like you said, it seems like when we're in the moment, that's when we release the limitation or the confines of time somehow, like to the point where we've we've jumped we've jumped to different places. So like uh being uh driving down the road knowing that it takes 20 minutes to get to the location that I'm on my way to, listening to the radio. There's not, it's not a CD, it's the live radio, and seeing the time on the and my daughter remarking, I wish we were already there. And then all of a sudden, like the music didn't skip a beat. The time, because I looked back again right after it happened, I became all of a sudden aware that we were just about reaching our location. It should have not been another 20 minutes before we got there. That kind of like locational kind of stuff, as well as, like you said, like not having really any idea that, thinking I had been doing something for 5 hours and it had been 5 minutes. But that's usually when I'm doing things like in meditation. I'm noticing the meditations are going a lot longer because they feel like we've only been doing it for 20, 30 minutes. And
Hmm.
ends up being, it's like an hour and a half. And I typically go an hour, you know, lots of stuff like that. I wanted to say something. This is really interesting because I've been watching the comments too. Thank you all for coming. Um, oh, by the way, you are paired. Just
Yeah, it's
oh yeah,
working.
yeah. There's a also a Bible verse talking about this. It's kind of fun. Um, this was a verse. See, I'm not somebody who knows the Bible very well. There's people who know far more than I do. However, Spirit very rarely suggests Bible passages. And a little while ago, they did suggest that I go look at this. It's Matthew 24:22, which is really interesting because it talks about how uh, for the sake of the elect, the days will be shortened.
Oh
The
yeah, yeah.
shortening of the days, and you
I
can read it. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I remember that. Yeah, it really like stick out to me as well. Like, yeah, like that's exactly what we're experiencing right now.
Right. And I like the use of the word elect because it's a plural word that means chosen ones. And a lot of the propaganda that we've been fed the past 100 years, maybe a little longer than that, has been removing it as a collective and trying to make it be a singular. So people, and then diminishing everyone, low self-worth style, and making it so they don't think that it could possibly be themselves. That's a great way to disempower a collective or a species, is to tell them that somebody else, not you, will be the one that changes the world. And so you need to just not get in any
Stay in
trouble.
line. Yeah.
Yeah, do what we say and wait for this miraculous singular individual that will come and rescue you. And that's really smart. And now we're not falling for it anymore. But I have a question, because
Mhm.
I love that movie. Interstellar is a fascinating movie, man, and how it's the 5-dimensional, I think is what they called it, version of time that's demonstrated in that. Um, my question is because I'm really tapping a lot into the people who are like kind of awake, but not maybe like you and I do, where we really dive into this. And I was wondering, what was the audience like? Like, how did your wife respond? Like, what was that like?
Oh yeah. I mean, at first, like, it wasn't the best viewing experience because I was in the second row, so
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
I was
Yeah.
looking up like this at the screen because I'm used to when we go to the cinemas. I'm always used to that. We're always having private screenings because nobody goes to watch movies.
Right.
I was like, oh, like I have time to like reserve a seat and like buy the tickets and all that. And when I took the time to like actually buy the tickets, the only free seats were in the first two rows, and I was like, whoa! And it was
Wow.
like the whole theater was packed. So people will pay to watch good movies. So
I'm
uh,
impressed by the collection of people that came to that movie. That says something about what's going on.
yeah, I think so. Yeah, so people were really, really even. I think it's like 11 years ago the movie came out, but still people are very interested in it. So
It's been 11 years, and today it's actually called the Day of Rabbits. People are calling it because 101 is like the Matrix.
oh yeah, yeah.
Sorry, go on.
Yeah, like what was the audience like? Well, my wife didn't really understand what was happening, so she didn't really enjoy the movie. Well, as she said, like she didn't understand all that weird space time and like black holes and relativity and all that
Right.
stuff. I mean, it's not that important. Like you have relationship stuff in it, but still, it's like very interesting. The whole theme of I mean, in general, like love, but yeah, like people really flipped out on that shit. That like, I mean, yeah, like when you travel through space and time, like it has its laws, and there's, I mean, you're bound basically by the laws of physics on our plane, which is very limiting. You can't, yes, time is not as malleable as on the higher planes, and I really love that scene when like. I think Anne Hathaway says like love is the only force that can like transcend time and space.
Yeah, that's cool.
I was like, yeah, yes, yeah.
Yeah.
But also like the other thing that's like very cool and interesting of the like, I mean, in short, the story is like there's a problem on Earth, like people need to leave planet Earth, which I really don't like that storyline.
Yeah.
But basically, like they find the solution in the so-called future and they bring the solution back to the past to solve the current problem basically. So in short, spoilers, like I think it's explained like that the beings that we never see, like they create this opportunity for planet Earth, for like humans to like travel to a different galaxy to find a new home. And when they like travel through the wormhole, they like discover that, hey, like those beings were actually us from the future who were like assisting us in the past. And like they were the ones that assisted like bringing back information from the future to the past to solve the current problems that they were facing. So, and we're also having something similar or maybe the exact same thing happening here on planet Earth too. I can't explain it, so I'm very bad at it. I myself, I don't fully understand it, but I know like I had like many realizations like in the past few years regarding this like whole cycle and like topic of time. For example, like one of the very intense and mind-blowing experiences I had like I think like 2 years ago. I had my spiritual awakening in 2012. I think towards the February or so,
Oh, right at
and
the
it was
beginning of 2012.
yeah, at the very beginning of 2012, and it was a very emotional and very powerful experience that I had. And I probably almost 10 years later, I did my daily meditation and I like sat down and like travel and to do my stuff. And while I'm in that state, I don't really think about it or label it or judge it. I just like go with it and like do the things that come up. And during that experience, I'm not sure if it was like 10 years to the day, but it was around February, anyways. I had this experience that like revisited myself
Yeah.
as like a second observer or like a second participant in that experience when I had my spiritual awakening. And I waited for the moment when my 2012 self had the realization, that like spark in their mind that like flipped the switch. And when
Hmm.
that happened, then I this huge force of like love and light like came through my heart and my entire being and like flooded everything in that specific scene and experience. And when I came back, I was like, holy shit, like what was that? Like, so basically I was the one who I know like not just initiated but like created that whole massive shift in my own development. So the future's version of myself.
Yeah.
And also like the other huge experience, it was more like a realization, is that I don't remember what I was like contemplating upon, but something similar to like time. And that I know like we're going through a lot of rough stuff, like transformational wise, like globally and also like on a personal level. And I always had this knowing, like even regardless like how dark and like bad things may seem on the surface, like I always had that like calm inside of me that like I know where all of this is going because like I've experienced this already. And I like our ascension to like a higher timeline, humanity being balanced and healed and like creating this, I wouldn't say like utopia, but a far more advanced version of humanity and planet Earth like has already happened on a certain level, and like we're bringing back that information to the present moment to like make it happen. I'm not sure how it works, but I know like when I had that like realization, like it shook me to the very core, like very intensely, like not in a negative way, but it was like whoa. Like, I just like tapped into something very intense there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't rationalize it. I think you can't really even understand it like from our linear 3D mind perspective. I think the ego mind like won't be able to grasp this stuff.
Yeah. 100%. Because again, our confines of time and linear time. But this is actually what happened with me too. When I was 13 or 12, I think I was 13, and the pleadings started to come, and they what it was is I was going back to each of the events, each of the moments, which was there were quite a few of them, and basically it felt kind of like morbid daydreaming, where you're looking back at these traumatic moments and you're kind of changing the script a little bit. And Anyway, doing this over and over again over a series of years is how I've come from where I did to where I am. I mean, a lot of people know about my story. I don't need to go into it, but there was quite a bit of abuse that needed to be healed. And I later found out that's called quantum healing. There's a whole like thing, and like the workshops are thousands of dollars and all that stuff. And it's like, you know, you can do it yourself if you um, allow yourself to do what you were saying, Guardian, that this suspending your belief in time and the way that events work, that there's not any chronological anything to it, that there's no, you know, your past life could be 2000 years from now, not ago.
Hmm.
Like the way that it works is so, it's difficult to really put our finger on, to understand, like you said, with our ego mind. It's, well, no, it's supposed to be this way, like tomorrow's Thursday, kind of thing. Instead of, you can go back. I'm actually been doing that a lot for 24 years ago. For some reason, we've been being brought back to 24 years ago around that time. And there's been a lot of healing that's been going on. It's really fun though, and liberating, because what happens is once you go back to these moments, um, and then return, you feel healed, and your reality reflects that. But this is the part that I don't know if you've noticed this or not, is that also people who were there no longer remember it happening the way it did before, but instead they remember it the way that you caused it to change. Like the Mandela effect is being caused by ourselves repairing our timelines.
Yeah, it's
It's
interesting.
good.
I haven't really confirmed it with like other people, but I also did like the whole thing that you were mentioning, that like going back to past events and like recalibrating them. So it's like it has a different effect in the present me, basically. And it worked out pretty damn well. But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, the only guidance I have for that is um, allow yourself to, consider having someone or some ones around you if you feel unstable or concerned about it. But it's not something that, what it is, what I had found was that on occasion it was similar to PTSD flashbacks, because it's as if the event that you just went through, in your mind and in the healing of it, had actually just occurred. And so even though you created a new answer of what it was to be in those moments and change the script, there's still some type of a need to, because it felt like it just happened, there's a need to kind of have somebody that can understand and debrief with. And so I find it useful, to have a friend or something that you can like talk to about this event. And you don't have to shape it, as you don't have to tell them the whole story. You just let them know this, we want to talk about something that happened a long time ago, you know? And that really does help. So um, I'm going to grab somebody's comment, because Chef Dab's a good friend of ours, and she's going through something hard right now. So I was hoping that,
Yeah, I also just read it. And I like the first thing that came to mind is like rejection is God's protection. So
ooh,
I experienced that a few times in my life too, and I
yeah,
absolutely stand by that.
yeah,
It may feel very disheartening and painful in the moment, but later on you will see like, holy shit, like that. It was really good that it happened when it did.
yeah, yeah,
I had multiple occasions of that in my life.
yeah. And like, yeah, and I love that she can already see it. Like she can, because there's already been conversation about how toxic of a place it's been there and everything, and just to have that happen, especially when you're excused from a place of employment, there's always that added bonus, often anyway, of unemployment, if that's something that you want to look into. Like I think that there's usually um, several months, if not longer, of something else, for you to get while you're figuring out what you're going to do next, you know. But I love that. And happy birthday in November. She's a so what birthday? When in November? I would be interested. So, and I this is something that's a theme. Okay, it's not just employment. It's also been relationships. It's also been a breaking down or a shedding of relationships. I've been seeing this a lot this week. Where people are noticing that the things that aren't serving them are really leaving. Like they're like, hey, you're not gonna do anything about it. Okay, we'll do something about it for you. you know. So if that's you, you're not alone. We can go back to time. Sorry, I've Chef Debs in the audience and I just wanted to,
Oh, you want some more about time?
if you want, we can talk about we could talk about what's going on with the all these comments and stuff too, if you feel like.
Oh, we could, I guess. But yeah, like the other thing that came up is like these media stuff. Like, for example, like Star Trek is the most in your face. But also, like, there are different types of movies and shows. For example, just as Interstellar, they're like there to. I'm not sure what were they inspired by or like what the whole process of their creation is. But basically, they are there to see specific information and thoughts into the collective of the human race to like see beyond the mundane and like see beyond what is here and right now. Like I know like it is fiction to a certain extent, but they are based on something that is very real and is very much not part of the mundane three-dimensional linear space-time continuum that people want you to stay in, basically.
Yeah, yeah,
So people who had experiences, to say the least, like they recognize those patterns, basically.
yeah.
And like the other thing that I wanted to share is I know, like, I also think also you are, and also other people listening to this are drawn to like different types of like science fiction movies,
Hmm.
or like traveling through space and like viewing these beautiful galactic stuff, traveling through the stars and all that stuff. And it's because we remember on the subconscious level all those stuff, and it's like,
Yeah,
oh yeah, like I know that stuff, or like it feels like home or something familiar that we are like missing from our lives. And that's why many people are drawn to those stuff, basically, because it's reminding you of something very deep, like hiding inside of you.
yeah. Like that was the biggest activation. I was so little. I don't remember how old I was. And my dad was getting into like Carl Sagan stuff. And you know, I I remember seeing the visuals, and I don't know if it what how they created it, but I remember seeing these images in this movie, and I remembered being there. I literally that was where I'm like I was there, or something similar to it. Like it felt like that. I spent a long time just watching a nebula form. I remember it. I have such a clear memory of that. And these little things, they're not always exactly they're not precise to what they exactly are, but they're close enough to stir your memory, these dwellings within you that have this knowledge, this information, and are just reminding you of a past that is yours. It's kind of like QHHT in a different way. It's the same thing, though. Isn't QHHT reminds you of past incarnations, and a lot of times with this space stuff, it reminds us of our soul, more of a soul level, instead, more of like who we are as the soul that we are, rather than exactly the incarnations we've had. Does that make sense?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like UHHT can like take you anywhere, so
Yeah.
it doesn't necessarily have to be a past life.
Oh,
Like
right.
I
You're
had,
a practitioner.
yeah, like I had regressions when it took me to past events in this current lifetime. So anything can happen there.
Right. I'm curious, because this is a good example of being able to find something, to find a loophole in time, I suppose, is this QHHT. And I've always been so fascinated by it, but every time that I've had an opportunity, it's been thwarted. Like I wasn't supposed to do it, you know, like,
Oh, it's
uh,
fine.
but yeah, well, you know, not on an ego level. I really wanted to do it. And so I was kept trying. But anyway, what is that? Do you want to explain that to people so they kind of
Well, it's a hypnotic regression, scientifically speaking, but it's mostly a guided meditation that takes you very, very deep to the. I don't remember exact name of that state. I think it's the theta state,
that's correct.
the right before you go to sleep. It takes you really, really down before you cross that like threshold. Like if you go any deeper, you will fall asleep.
Right.
And it like keeps you in that state, and the practitioner is like guiding to a certain extent, keeping you busy with their questions so you don't fall asleep. And basically they don't suggest anything to you, they only ask questions. And like everything that comes up from your subconscious, or aka your higher self, like the entire thing is guided by your higher self. Like it only brings up stuff that you're able to deal with. It may seem very abstract at the beginning, like the things that come up, but later on, like it forms a holistic picture, an understanding at the end, like why did you see and experience those things that it brought up during the regression. And healing can happen on all levels: physical, emotional, karmic, and like all the good stuff. But yeah, in general, it's like a very multi-dimensional process. Like anything can happen. Like there are scripts and like templates for it, like how it should flow, but like unexpected stuff happen all the time. So,
Right.
but
I
it's very interesting. Like especially like I had my first in 2013, I think, and I had one this year, I think like 3 months ago or so. And there was like such a huge difference between the two. I guess like also because I also changed a lot,
yeah.
like energetically, and also I'm much more of a clear channel than I was like, I don't know, like 12 years ago. And like holy shit, like it was such an intense experience. Like all the things that came up and through, it was so vivid and like so visceral, and it was a very intense experience. And also because like some very, I would say, gruesome stuff, but like some very traumatic stuff from other lives came up too, and I felt it very intensely. And like the practitioner was like really giving it all to like get me out of it, like so I
Right.
don't like go down and like a spiral into that specific experience. And like all of it was over, and I was like awake. I was back. She said like, "Ooh, like that was really something." That was really rough.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't have to be like that. I guess like it came through in that way because I could handle it. So
Right. Wow. So that was just a few months ago. Is there something in particular that you would want to share anyway that like you found benefited you? Because it's
yeah, it
been a few
did.
months
Like
now. You
it
have time.
brought back quite a lot of. I mean, it was not conscious, but yeah, like I had different experiences throughout my childhood of like psychic attacks and unpleasant experiences that I had in the astral, and it related to that because like that was coming up again in my current life. And I also tried to like access like what was behind that, but I was unable to do it on my own, because when I was like tapping into that specific source of information, I like kind of started to lose my current self, and I started to like fall into my, I know, like 5-year-old self. And instead of like being this empowered I don't know, like multi-dimensional being, I started to become this like very frightened and traumatized 5-year-old who is not able to handle that situation.
Right.
And I couldn't have both at the same time. If I were like trying to center myself, then I was like coming out of that, and I was like denied access to that whole realm of information. And I was like, okay, like I need someone to guide me through this
Right.
the whole process. And again, like in true QHHD fashion, like it took us in like a direction that we're not expecting to. Like it took me like I think like 200 years after the flood happened. So like 12,000 years ago, something happened that is like related to what is happening.
Yeah.
And yeah, some very, I mean, some dark stuff happened back then after the flood and also during it. And basically all of that was like sealed away inside of me because I was not ready to like deal with it. And like now was the time to like break the seal and like break up all the things that were like I was carrying with myself for a lot of time. I
Yeah.
wasn't even conscious of it. And like then the whole healing process of it started, which lasted several weeks. So not everything was done in the single session. I still had to do a lot of work on my own later on too.
Yeah, it's kind of like everything that you need to have healed is kind of vomited up in the middle of your living room, and then your practitioner says, "Thanks for coming," because
Oh, like
now,
they really assist you in like putting everything back into the proper place so you're like as
okay,
integrated, present, and fully functional as you can be under the circumstances. So they always do everything that your whatever happened will not bother you right here and right now.
oh,
I
that's
mean,
awesome.
you will still carry the experience inside of you, but it will not disrupt your life, basically, unless you
I,
want to like sink back into that experience. But that's your choice. So
fair. That makes sense. It's not meant for you to like linger and ruminate
no,
on.
and it was very difficult for me too because it was such a strong experience. It was like constantly like coming up,
Right.
and it was like affecting me in a sense that I was like unable to like eat meat for a few days because I mean stuff happened
Right.
regarding meat then, which disrupted me here right now. It was like constantly reminding me things regarding that lifetime. And yeah, it took me quite a few days, even weeks, to like fully process and like reintegrate everything back in a healed fashion, basically. But
Right.
it also, at the same time, it was a very fascinating. I was like tapping into a very interesting source of information. Like I was always fascinated by the whole concept of the flood and like what happened before and after, like how civilization survived the cataclysm and all that, and like it gave me like a very intense glimpse of like what happened in India in that region after the flood. It was very fascinating, especially like living through that in like in this first person view. It was absolutely
Yeah.
fascinating. Very scary certain stuff, but very fascinating nonetheless.
You just brought up that's the main memories that I've always had of that time frame. I mean, and India specifically, Sri Lanka and Tibet stuff. And it's really interesting that you brought that up. Um, cool. Yeah, there's a lot of questions people want to know about what QHHT is. It's Dolores Cannon is the one that made it. That really well, she's the inventor of what we call QHHT. There's other off spin-offs of it that is called something else. Um, there is a question, and I'm going to answer it first, just because this is the only way I've participated in this. Can you do it to yourself or on yourself? QHHT is past life regression, and it's called auto regression. I found actually back years ago. I don't think I could find the same example again, but um, I did one I found on YouTube, and I discovered that over the next week, it's a much more subtle version of what I've heard stories about QHHT being, because over the next week or so, you start having these dreams, and there's a theme. Like the one that I was brought through was there was the reason that I've had such a hang up about dancing in front of people in my life. Like, and it came up in all these different examples to show me why, over the course of a week or longer. So I know that I mean, I benefited from it. There was a lot of knowledge and information that came through as a result. Um, uh, but I don't know what the official stand is on that. So Guardian, you're actually a practitioner, or I don't remember how long ago it was that you did the course. Do you still do sessions with people or anything like that?
No, I stopped
If you
in
haven't practiced for a little
2020. But yeah, like in general, like I mean, I don't think there was like anything specific said about it, but like don't do it on yourself. Because also we don't record the regression part of it, like the induction part of it. So when someone is listening to it, like they don't go back into that lower trance state. And yeah, just in general, like don't do it on yourself. Like that's the most advisable thing to do. Like I did it on myself, and the practitioner that I was working with this year, she also admitted that she also regressed herself. So if you know what you're doing, like you could do it. Like I did it for on myself because I'm so used to like moving in and out of different states of awareness and different moving between different states of trance. So like even if I were during the regression, if I wanted to, I could like pull myself out of it if I really wanted to and bring
Right.
myself back. But yeah, like for someone who is not used to maneuvering easily with those states of consciousness, then definitely don't. And even if you're like very much, it's something very easy for you to like regress yourself and come back. Even then, it's very advised to like have someone who is paying attention to you. Like for example, I made the mistake back, I don't know, like 2015 or so, like something was coming up and I regressed myself and I had my wife assist me with the whole process, but I didn't educate her on like what to do if something I don't know, like you bump into something very nasty, like something traumatic. Because like when you're in that experience, you're going to experience it very intensely and you're going to be in that experience. And like you need someone to like guide you through that, to like, okay, like you don't have to experience it from the first person view, like you can just view it as an observer and it will no longer affect you in any shape or form. You can just simply observe what is happening in an objective way. And I didn't do that. I didn't prepare her for that. So I went through some very intense stuff because I didn't prepare her for that. Because I didn't know what I was getting into, basically. So
Right.
so that can
She
happen
didn't know
too.
why
Yeah.
she was watching you
I'm
exactly.
sorry.
Sorry. Yeah, and therefore she didn't really know
Yeah, she
exactly
didn't
why
know
she
what
was
to do
watching
with
you.
the
She's
whole
thinking,
situation. And I just like
right.
had to like go through the difficult, shitty stuff again to like
Mhm.
get out on the other end, basically. So
I've often wondered why they say that. Because there's been conversation about not doing it all over, like through a Zoom meeting.
oh yeah,
Like
because
you're not supposed to.
I mean the connection may not be stable and like
Exactly.
you can lose connection with that person and they're going to just remain in that very deep dazed state alone. Which in some cases can be scary. I wouldn't say traumatic, but yeah, like if you're experiencing something very deep and it's also very vulnerable state basically, and you're like wide open kind of. And when the regression is done, like you have to like close everything back, put everything back into its place, so it doesn't bother you and
Right.
doesn't disrupt your life. And if you don't do that, if you like don't tie everything up and like put it back into its place, then you're just going to be like this open portal for stuff to come in and happen, basically. I mean, you will eventually come
Right.
back from that state. Like you will awaken naturally if you have to go to the bathroom or just simply, I don't know, like fall asleep and wake up. But
And that's what I always thought. I was like, well, why is it so dangerous? I'll just wake up. But worst thing that could happen is you just, you know, sleep through the day.
yeah,
But I can see that sometimes you're in we could be in a real stressful
yeah,
situation.
like and like you can abandon that specific person in a very fragile and difficult state. Like for example, if someone I know, like they will be going through something very traumatic, and like in the middle of it, you're just like left alone in it. Like, what the f did you do like on your own? Because like in that state, it's very difficult to like do anything. Like you need a guide through those difficult situations.
And so people don't do it over the phone usually. They want to see
Yeah, like
you
there's a
and watch your
regulation
breathing.
that we don't do it through Skype, although Skype is dead. So, but we don't do it through the internet or phone. So,
Yeah, Skype is gone. I just heard about
yeah,
that.
rest in pieces.
It was really, that was one of those that's also why I don't do Messenger on Facebook much, is that it I could hear the frequency, that kind of like old school dial up sound is what it feels like in my skin. Like I just feel it's like it's as if I hear it. So yeah, interesting. Well, thank you for all of that information. I've wondering for some time. We have a question in the audience that kind of steers us back over to a topic we were talking about before we went live. Um, our friend Kim from Facebook says she has a question for us both. Have either of you had profound interaction with Three Eye Atlas? I have some stories to tell, but I'm going to give you the chance if you want to share first. If you're welcome to. No, okay. So, uh, this is like it's interesting because my interaction, my initial interaction with Three Eye Atlas was I went to a big spaceship, and it was on the 2nd of July. Why I think that is so it was so validating for me is that I found they had no way of telling they hadn't told anybody about it till the third or the fourth. You know what I mean? And so it was in independent of someone else's suggestiveness. Did I have this interaction anyway? I found that it was similar to like a UN, a United Nations, because a little more than half were Arcturians, and that it was. I feel like it's supposed to. It's like the vessel itself is an Arcturian one, but there are a variety of individual on this vessel, and I think it's really fascinating because I've interacted with a handful of them, and I thought it was kind of like a businessman riding to work on a tricycle, being on this big old rock. I was like, why? What are you doing? And they said, well, they showed me the picture, an image of a boy standing at the bow of a boat, the front of the boat, and waiting for people on shore to decide whether or not to invite him, or that he decide if he was real before they would invite him ashore. And they said, so you can decide about us, like, so you can get used to, basically get used to us as on the way here, as they're on their way here. um they're not the only one. There's now a report of over 2,000 other little comets and stuff all around it. There's um two of those comets had nova explosions a couple of days ago, and the force of that is activated our sun. And then just a couple of hours ago, really, it made contact with the other comet, which is much larger, called the Swan Comet, or 2025 CR2, I think is what it's called. Um, anyway, and that will have, if I haven't seen examples of it yet, I haven't had time to look it up, but um, it's likely it will have disrupted the tail, which is quite long, of Swan, by the way. um, from our perspective, it looks like two lengths of the moon. That's how long that tail looks. It's freaking huge, Guardian. And so a lot of us are feeling this right now. I saw in the comments people are talking about it. Are you sure that Mercury is out of retrograde? I know exactly what you're talking, because of the tech stuff is just not it. The tech is just falling apart. Like, you've been talking about the tech too, Guardian. Like, you were saying something about that just before. Like, everything's falling apart, and you work in the tech world, right?
Not necessarily. Like I'm a game developer, so I do use quite a lot of software and things like that. And yeah, like just it was the main theme in the past few years that things on and off just stop working or do weird shit. So,
Yeah,
and it's yeah, like it's a constant. Like the internet goes away, things work, then they don't work. Things interact or do weird stuff that they usually don't do.
yeah. Yeah.
It's just like a constant in the past. I think this year mostly, it's been a constant. Like you can expect that something will not work as it used to or should work.
Yeah.
So it's kind of annoying, but that's just how it is.
Right. I mean, all the disruption has been crazy. Like people have been coming on, can't get their camera to work, or like in the
Yeah,
time that we
like
were talking, I've
I had so
watched you
many
like,
problems with Zoom too. Like, especially in the past month, I thought of like buying a new webcam. I don't know what is happening or what's the weird problem is. Like, I can troubleshoot 90% of this stuff, but I can't wrap my mind around what is happening with Zoom. So it's I start the session, and after a few minutes, Zoom decides that my audio doesn't exist, or it disconnects the camera in a very weird way that that also ceases to exist, but just for Zoom. So I don't know what's happening. So weird stuff.
that's crazy. Yeah, I mean, it's been really interesting to, and in fact, since we've been on this show, there's been a few different times where we both froze, and then like it took me a minute. It took a minute to like catch up your voice to your mouth, you know, from my perspective. But I can say that I there have been so many people who have told me that same thing. They're like, "Are you sure? Are you sure that Mercury left retrograde and is in direct motion?" Because there's such a disruption, and I feel a lot of it are these echoes of energy moving through the cosmos, you know, and we are having a lot of interstellar. I like that name, that because that's the movie that's like back out in the. If it was in the live theater here, we would, or a theater here, I think we would go to a live viewing like that. You know, we haven't gone to a movie to the cinema in so long, but for something like that, I think I would do it. You know, that sounds neat.
Yeah, like I only watched. I think the only movie that I was actually like very excited to see in the past 10 years was Dune.
Yeah, yeah.
I like completely like tuned out of this like Hollywood blockbuster stuff. Like I'm just so disinterested by those things now. But yeah, like when Dune was coming out, I was like, holy shit, like I have to see that. I love Dune and I really
Yeah.
like the movie. So
I used to be a really big movie watcher though, back in the day. Um, did you get any? Have you gotten anything off of maybe what this Atlas Comets is, or what? Getting any like information from it? What's your opinion? You have anything to comment about that at all?
nope. Although I've been having, I think like 3 or 2 weeks ago when I talked about it with you last time. Probably it was 4 weeks ago then. I had more Arcturian visits and activations happening. It could be related to the comet, although I mostly felt like I was like going to their star system or part of the universe rather than like they coming here. At least that's what I got from the whole experience.
Huh, interesting. Well, I know that a lot of the device disruption stuff, what I've gotten, the answer I got was it has a lot to do with not just this particular one either. There's tons more that is happening. This, like for instance, that swan comet, it's huge, and it just appeared from behind our sun, so it had been coming for a long time. We just didn't see it, you know, and like that's what I'm trying to say here is this is remarkable, and there's more that we just don't know about. Um, and as a result of their approach, how I feel is it has to do with like that isn't responsible exactly, but because the frequency of what's happening, it's going to be disruptive on our devices, on our you know technology, and on top of it, something else is happening under the behind the scenes. I don't know if you know about all this stuff there that's going on, but like, well, they're shifting some things where some, I know, at least in Australia, with by next month, if you don't produce your driver's license, um, you won't be able to be a member of Facebook, of Telegram, and all
Oh
this
yeah.
stuff in Australia, I guess. And so, like, a lot of people like us don't want to put our driver's license in this database, so you'll see a lot of people leaving social media in the next couple of weeks.
Very good.
Yeah. And at the same time, um, I know that they're trying to encourage it a little bit on our end. On YouTube, YouTube apparently just updated, and it told me, it said, we can't tell if you're an adult. And
Oh yeah, I
so
heard about that. Yeah, yeah.
you got that too?
No, I just heard about it. I'm not sure if it's like implemented in my area, but yeah, like don't upload your driver's license to the Google database.
I have
Or
no
let Google think that you're a child based on your viewing history or something. It really doesn't matter.
like I don't click all that much anymore, honestly. I'll click Guardian. By the way, you just did a really awesome meditation again. You've been doing these meditations a lot more lately. I'm wondering
Yeah, like
what's
every week.
what's inspiring this. This is awesome.
Um, I think like this is needed right now, or that's kind of what I feel.
Yeah.
I have a talent for relaxing and putting people to sleep, and I'm maxing it out.
You're maxing it out. I love your story about when you were in college giving presentations. You mind just telling that story? I think it's so
I mean, it's
funny.
not that fascinating. I just had to do a presentation, and like people were like floored and like, and like one of my friends said, like, "Wow, like you would be a great teacher." Like I almost fall asleep during the presentation.
Because you have such a peaceful, calming voice.
Yeah, I had
You
like a
really
very
do.
deep and like slow talking voice, and people were like just zoning out.
And so you realize, hey, I should use this. Use this for the, what it's designed for, and that's that calming.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. I've always loved your meditations for that. I've never gone to sleep, but you can take a person into some pretty deep trance states, like, and it doesn't have to be designed for the individual, unique person. These group meditations that you're doing are incredibly helpful. And that's what I've been getting a lot of too, is to tell people, guys, if I know many people don't want to meditate, there's some kind of reason. Like most of the time, we don't even remember why. We just have convinced ourselves that's not something that we want to do. But I mean, right now is the best time to get on and try this out. And Guardians meditations aren't usually, they're not that long. How long do you typically go for on these?
I mean, the events themselves are usually like 55 or I don't know, like an hour, but maybe 10 or 20 minutes of that whole live event or like, I don't know, like talking about something or chatting with people who are writing in the chat box or maybe explaining something or like the end part when like come back and like try to like ground people so you're not in that like super I don't know, like disoriented state. So we like come back and reintegrate. I think I usually like leave like 10 minutes for that. So everyone has time to like come back. So I don't know, like it depends. Some of them became quite long. I know like we did one and the live event is like, I don't know, like 1 hour or 20 minutes or so. And I remember like that was so long and deep, but I didn't feel like very long. I just felt like I was going very, very deep. And like after I completely lost track of time and my dog started to bark under the window and when my guides were like okay, like come back, like come back.
Right.
And like people were writing and like, wow, like I just didn't want to come back anymore.
Yeah.
I
Wow.
just wanted to stay there.
That's fascinating. I had the exact same thing happen last night's meditation. I I felt like I was only gone for like I thought to I had thought to myself when they started to say it's time to come back, and that they're going to bring us back slowly because it's channeled, and but I thought we'd probably been there 30 minutes. I almost felt like I didn't give people their money's worth because it's a group that I do every Tuesday. Anyway, uh, it was an hour and 25 minutes long. This Christ consciousness contract, soul contract thing that we did. Um, it was crazy. It was an hour and 25 minutes long, and it only felt like 30 minutes.
Yeah, it's
It's
kind of the same with the regressions too. Like it only feels like 20 minutes or half an hour, and then you look at a clock and like 1.5 hours just like slip by.
yeah. But if you guys get a chance, like I see Karen here says, I do my best to do a guardian meditation every
Oh,
morning.
thank you, Kara.
Yeah. Karen's an awesome friend of the channel too. She's really cool. If you get a chance, check out Guardian's channel. If it's not linked properly, sometimes that happens because I'll do it from Restream and it doesn't do it translate right. So I'll always go back after and fix so it has a hyperlink there, and you can go directly to Guardian's channel if you've not already done so, and it's at j.zoltan is how you can find him on YouTube. And I just encourage anybody that are kind of, even if you're a veteran or whatever of this, a seasoned meditator, uh, Guardians meditations are amazing. Though I find that because they're more concise, that it's more desirable for maybe people who are just starting in meditation or have gotten out of the habit, because it's not as long. 15, 20, 30-minute meditation, it's so much easier to do than the hour and a half that is just,
Yeah, like it doesn't have to be very long. Although, like if you haven't done it for some time or at all, like it really helps to like go with a longer one because like you're anchoring more of that energy. You're getting more used to like what it feels like, and you're just like allowing yourself to like go in slowly and deeply into a beautiful state of relaxation and experience what that is like. And after you have yeah, like I always repeat after in each of the meditations that like what we're doing, like it doesn't have to be as long. Like you can do it on your own, and maybe like 20 minutes, the same effect will happen.
yeah,
But like it's good to like do it and go deeper from time to time to like reach like a new level if you want to.
right. That's awesome. Yeah, and there it's the layers. You find that you can go in deeper and deeper, or whatever's required at any given moment. I know we're probably going to need to wrap this up soon because the time over where you are is late. But we have a question here that's kind of a big question. So if it's, I don't, it depends on, this is a question for the Tehute, which is the Syrians that you connect with and have done channeling things for a while. They want to know if there's an update on the global ascension with timelines. Do you have anything to comment?
Well, I think we kind of all addressed what is happening currently.
Mhm.
So I'm not sure. Yeah, like the time, like think of time and how it works and like how you relate to it. And like a lot of recalibration needs to happen in order for us to function more holistically. And like try to let go of your perspective of time and like how you related to it, how you function within the stream of time, and just simply try to find a new flow of how it best works for you in this current moment because it's going to change a lot. So try to just stay here and now and just be as grounded as much as you can because it's going to be wild. Or at least that's what's coming through.
Yeah, dude, that's what I've gotten to.
And
Whereas
I kind
it's,
of seen like a roller coaster then.
yeah, that's a really good visual. It does, because there's a lot of peaks and valleys to it. It does feel like this, where you're just like, and that's kind of the nature of a roller coaster. Though it's super exciting, you still want to keep your arms and legs in the ride at all times.
Yeah.
Yeah, and to do whatever it is that is best for you as an individual for stabilization, and remember to be more in the love as possible rather than the fear. And there is a lot of fear porn out there right now. like, disaster strikes, kind of, and
Clickbait.
yeah, yeah. And, um, if I know most of the people that watch us also at least attempt to not watch the news, but especially right now, is my last little part about that, because where we are in this flux, in this place where time, what we call time, it's a little more fluid than it was before, and we're manifesting much more rapidly now. And so what you focus on, you attract. So, choose what
Yeah.
you're going to focus on.
Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to like point out. Like things are like so amplified right now that choose wisely. Like, what are you putting your attention and energy into? Because it's going to come back into your face very quickly. So
Yeah.
we were used to like doing something or putting something out and like having an effect come back to us with quite a bit of delay and
Yeah.
time. But now it's like so fast. Like if you like do something or you like trigger something and like comes back right at you very quickly. So
Yeah.
be careful what you put out, or be very mindful of what energies you embody, basically.
Right. It reminds me of that game. I don't remember what it was called, but it was a game I didn't. Oh, Monopoly. It's like, do not pass go. Do not collect 2,000.
Whoops. I guess it's only me. Like, and you're back. Okay.
That was
We
weird.
switched places.
There we go. It just said connection lost. That's so weird. How did I lose my connection? Anyway, I guess that's spirit saying it's time to go, because you probably need to go to bed, huh?
Yeah, I suppose I could do that. Yeah.
It's late for you. You're in Romania. You're in Transylvania, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you for joining us for this. This is called the Day of Rabbits, or Rabbit Day, for it's the 101 day, so as we look at the calendar in the States, I know every other places they do like the month first or second, or whatever. But anyway, so it says 10-1, and so is 1001, and that's like the Matrix. So a lot of rabbit holes to jump down.
Yeah, like oh, speaking of rabbits, like I haven't seen them in the past few days, but in the past month, I've been seeing a lot of crickets. Like they wanted to get into my room. So cricket's been really trying to get my attention. And I looked up the symbology of the crickets,
Yeah.
and they are well, nothing's coming through. Wait, okay. So basically, they represent, I mean, good fortune and all that stuff, but mostly that everything is possible right now. So things that you were working towards or always wanted to manifest can become possible right now. And like be open for guidance and to be the place where you need to be when you need to be in order for things to happen. So things are malleable. So
Yeah.
be very present and like see where guidance leads you basically.
That's really interesting. You're getting crickets too. I had them. I had two crickets underneath my bed.
Oh,
Like, and I had just done what's it called? I always forget the word. When you arrange your room in alignment with
oh, feng shui or feng
feng
shui.
shui. There it
Okay.
is. And so, I mean, there was literally not even a dust bunny under my bed, and two crickets are under there. And so it's really interesting that we're both getting this. And then when I opened my front door, I had four tree frogs stuck to my door.
Mm.
So, the animals are coming in. That's really cool.
Yeah, we also have a lot of mantis, praying mantis here too.
Ooh, I love that.
Pretty big ones, like trying to they didn't try to get into the house, but a lot of them around the house, and I always have to be very careful not to like uh cut them off with the lawnmowers.
Right. Yeah, they have some sacredness to them. I feel like out of all the different insects, including dragonflies and things like this, but I go out of my way to make sure that they're safe. Like I'm out there bringing them water, you know? That's awesome. Well, I mean, I hate to get, I mean, I know, I can't believe I used the H word. We call that the H word. We don't even say the HATE word around here. I was going to say, I know that we don't want to get going, but we probably should, because I want to be responsible with your time. So, thank you so much for joining us today, Guardian. This is always such a treat to have you on. And um, before I pass it back over to you to say goodbye, I want to remind everybody in the audience today that we are doing a group gathering, a Zoom meeting, and that starts a little less than 3 hours from now. So you have some time to kind of settle in and get home from wherever you're at. And that show or that gathering is free. It's not aired or recorded. So it's considered private. You're welcome to join us. You can find the link for that in the community section of my YouTube channel, as well as in the Telegram group. And if you want to be a part of the Telegram group, it's free. There's a link for that in the description of the video also. Lastly, before I forget, please remember that Guardian has an amazing channel, and he goes live doing these meditations weekly. I've been seeing, and a couple of weeks ago, you did a violet flame meditation every day of the week, Monday through Friday.
Yeah, I'm not sure when we're going to do another one, but I think we are going to do more meditation marathons. So
awesome.
Check that out.
So make sure you click the notification bell when you go over to Guardian's channel, because he will have it up and you're able to kind of get an idea of the day that he's going to appear. So
it's usually Tuesdays, and we didn't have a meditation yesterday because we're doing this right now. So
right on. Okay, well, set your clock for Tuesdays. Wednesday for the Southern Hemisphere. Well, thank you so much. Would you like to say anything else before we get going, or?
I'm not sure. No, I mean, I'm glad we were able to do this. Like, we could do it more often if you have time.
Yeah,
it's a blast and awesome. So,
awesome. I would love that. All right. Well, thank you. Sending you all love, and I will see you soon. Aho.